This photo here right now has got 1 minute and 14 seconds to go. It's a 3-minute long photo, shooting long exposure out over this water with the clouds moving, the water moving, and it should be a bloody good photo. Let me show you how I did it. I'm out at this place called Cow Swamp. It is a really good photography opportunity here for many local photographers. In fact, I don't know anyone locally who hasn't taken a photo of this thing at sunset because it's bloody epic. The sun sets over in the west there across the back, and it always makes for a great sunset photo. But what we're doing here today, because the weather's kind of gloomy, we're going to shoot some long exposure stuff with the sky move, the clouds moving, the water moving. There are a few things to take into consideration when doing this sort of photo. When I do this sort of thing, I think this type of photography is the closest we can get to a DSLR type photo. In fact, many people with a DSLR, when they see someone like myself shooting with this sort of an app and they see the results, you just know that deep down they're questioning their gear investments because this does an epic job. There's a few things that we do though to make it look even more so like a DSLR photo. First and foremost is planning the shot and where you're going to be, where your point of view is going to be for the image. Now that tree out there, that one right there, is going to be the focus of my image, but it's not going to be in the center. I'm going to have it off to the side. It's a fair way away, and so this is where I want to sit. And what I want to work out is which way the clouds are moving. And what I do to work out which way that is set up a quick time lapse on the iPhone. In the camera app, just go to time lapse, set it up on a tripod. Mine is currently just over there, sitting on a tripod, and it's getting a time lapse right now. And I can tell you that's a bit of a force of habit. The clouds are moving this way, so they're going to come across the image fairly well, and they're moving in roughly the same direction as what the waves are. So we're going to get some uniformity there. That's one way to help it look a bit more like a big boy camera. The second way to make it look like a big boy camera is get out of the one-time zoom. The one-time zoom is almost a dead set giveaway for phone photography because that's the best camera that's on most phones. From a photography point of view, it's a fairly wide camera. And that doesn't mean that you're going to not use a wide-angle lens with the DSLR, but most DSLRs are going to be able to throw a big long lens on the front of it and give you that zoomed in look, which phones generally can't do, or generally don't do. You don't see many people using that zoom lens. And with that in mind, that tree that's out there, it's a fair way away, so I'm actually going to use the 5x zoom on this app that I'll show you to get that in nice and close. So it's not looking like it's far, far away. It'll make it look a damn sight better than just a regular camera shot. The last thing is the app, and the app that we're going to use to do this. Because big boy cameras, you've got to do a lot more manipulation. You've got to take a lot more photos, or you've got to throw filters onto the front of it to increase the exposure time to capture the movement and making it all nice and silky and smooth. But with a phone, it's different. Phone photography and DSLR photography it's simply different. There's not too many things that cross over besides composition rules, really. The way these two things work is very different. The app that we're going to use here is even longer. It is it would be one of the first and the best long exposure apps that exist for Apple iPhones. It will do star trails, it will do light trails, it will do frame averaging, which is what we're doing here. Frame averaging is taking many photos, blending them all together and getting an average of what those frames do. It's going to make everything look silky smooth. In the app here, you can see the test photo that I've taken down the bottom. This is in the app. We'll go around the app very quickly up the top right. So this is sitting landscape, obviously. You've got frame averaging down the bottom left as we look at it here. That's the way that we change different things, as I said before. The frame averaging, light trails, star trails, and night mode, different thing again. So we're staying with the frame averaging for now. Up the top corner, I would stay on frame averaging, thank you. You've got TIFF, you've got RAW, and you've got JPEG. We're going to shoot this RAW. Now, it looks all kind of dark, and it will do some things automatically here. If I go ahead and touch on that tree there, it should adjust the exposure a little bit, and it is not. We're going to do it manually. So we're going to manual focus, hit up onto that little magnifying glass there, and it'll bring us out to that tree. I just want to check the focus. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with how that is. We'll close that off. Let's change this shutter now to go 1/1000th. It'll make it a little bit brighter. We'll go a little bit wider again. Oh, not wider, sorry. Keep it back on 5x zoom. A little bit slower again. Yeah, there. Oh, that looks pretty good. Going to get some good contrast in this. As I look out there, that's what I see. There's a bit of contrast in the foreground, the tree and the sky. And I quite like how that is there. The other thing to do here in the gear icon, you can set your intervals. You can save it at different intervals. For this sort of thing, I don't think that we need to do that. There's raw. 5-second timer is the last thing that you want to do there. You can do longer if you want. And we're good to go. Hit the shutter. It's going to count down from 5, so I'm not touching this at all. There's a little bit of wind around. It's not exactly firm, sturdy ground. There's a bit of mud and crap around, so I don't want to be touching this when it takes the photo. So we'll come back in a few minutes and see what it's like. If it is your first time here, welcome to the channel. Here we do 2 videos each and every week all about small sensor photography, generally phone photography with long exposure stuff and astrophotography and a bit of gear reviews in there as well. So if you're into that sort of thing, hit subscribe and you'll see me each and every week with some pretty cool stuff that we can do with phones. In fact, I always say you're not going to believe some of the stuff that we can get out of the phone cameras on this channel. When you think about it, when you look at a bunch of phone photos, you can generally tell they're phone photos because of the focal length that they do. Most phones, so all the iPhones have got the same focal length, all the Samsungs have got the same focal length, and it just tends to look a bit more phone photo. And the more photos that you take with, say, the telephoto camera on any phone, it's going to look less like a phone photo. Same goes with the ultra-wide. You can shoot ultra-wide on the Pro cameras and they will generally look a bit different to a phone photo. Maybe not with iPhone 16, it's a bit softer around the edges of the ultra-wide, but the telephoto on this is still quite good. So this at the end of the day will look pretty good. All right, somebody has alerted the flies that I'm actually here and they've decided to come and pay me a visit. There's bloody heaps of them. Let's have a look at this image. So I'll go into the camera app and there it is. Whee. That looks pretty damn good. Yeah, that looks good. I think you'll agree this does look pretty damn good. Compared to what you actually see out there, this is nice and smooth. The clouds have taken on a linear sort of shape. The water is dead smooth, a little bit ghostly around the base of some of the trees. I think we're going to edit this up and have a look. Here is the image loaded into Adobe Lightroom Mobile, which is my preferred app for editing any of these sorts of photos. So this is a raw photo into Adobe Lightroom. We're going to have a look at firstly at some of the presets. I've got a few presets over there at shanemoston.com. They're $5 a pack. They're pretty bloody good. A lot of people I get good feedback on all these things. Head over there and have a look. It's a dead set easy way to start your editing process. If I go down there to the presets, have a look at the user presets, the back to basics ones, these are specifically for Astro, but some of them will work with this. If I have a look at high contrast, long exposure, that doesn't look too bad. So we can do it that way. We don't have to do it that way though. We're going to go back into editing and we'll go to the light and we're going to increase the contrast straight off the bat. And if you look at what it's doing to the tree, I'm losing a little bit of detail in the tree. So I'll increase the contrast just a little bit, go into shadows, and I'm going to increase the shadows just to bring that tree back out. Really, there's not that much else I want to do to this. Let's have a look at the dehazing slider over here. Yeah, that will do something with the clouds. I'm not sure I like that. You might like it. Personally, I do not. I'm going to bring that up to there. What else is going to make this work a little bit? Possibly a vignette. Let's have a look at a vignette. When you're doing this sort of a photo, because it's so overcast and grey and gloomy, the original shot is actually not too bad. Effects, dehaze, vignette, there we are. I decrease that a little bit. It's not too bad, but because my subject is so far to the left, which is what I wanted, I don't think a vignette will work either. We'll put that back to 0. See what we can adjust with the color, bring it a little bit cooler. Ooh, I don't like that. Let's bring it up. Ooh. Now how that looks right there with that little bit warmer temperature is exactly how it looks out here. I'm going to keep it just like that.